Yourself with me, Manessa Kaneki. I went to the dentist this morning, and it was, unpleasant to say the least. But in addition to it being, I'm trying to figure this out. Like, I'm trying to figure out what the hell's happening. I don't know why I'm doing it this way when I can just as easily do that. There we go. So I went to the dentist this morning, which I have trouble going to the dentist anyway, just in general, psychologically speaking. But in addition to that, she numbed my face. I had two cavities on the left hand side that need to be filled. One on the top, one on the bottom. But like, I can feel the vibrations like through my body in like the worst way. It's like, it's so hard to explain the impact that has on me. Dude, exactly. Okay. So I'm laying there, and usually I take my headphones, but I forgot my headphones. So it's all fine for the first one, and then when she did the second one, and she was great, but the numbness or something had like worn off a little bit, and so she touched something, not a nerve or anything, but like I spasmed. My mouth was full of water, and and basically I just spit everything out, like water, like there's water being spit everywhere, and like it was just awful, right? So like. And I spasmed, and the drill went flying, and I was like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry." And then in the meantime, I'm like, "I'm so sorry." I'm spitting out the water, like it was ridiculous. It was like if you watch The Mummy, when the guy had his tongue taken out, right, and he's like trying to talk and he can't really see, like that's kind of how it was because I had these glasses on. So anyway, so she ended up having to give me more Novocaine. Now, the weird thing that happened with the Novocaine this time, which has never happened to me before, is I got super woozy, like really woozy, and so I'm still feeling very off from this never happened before. And then she had to Novocaine me again. So I got the next Novocaine shot like 10 minutes before I left the dentist. So my mouth is currently in a very high state of numbness. So I'm talking to you right now, but I feel like this whole thing is not functioning. Like it feels like not functioning. So that's sort of like the whole thing that I just wanted to share with you, because there might be slurring. There might be drool that's just going to come out of my mouth. I might just accidentally spit on, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. But I thought about canceling, but I'm like, I feel fine. Like I feel kind of fine, and I was like, and I can still talk, and I was like, so I don't really want to cancel. I was like, so I'm just gonna do it, and I was like, let's see what happens, right? Okay, hello. Yep, we're gonna talk about Facebook ads today. Alrighty. Okay, how have you seen the show Evil? The daughter was out cold and then woke up and bit the dentist's finger off. Dude, I would want to bite the dentist's finger off for sure. Wait, I'm not me. Wait, you're not you. Who are you? I know who you are. I just don't know why you're not you, though. Why are you not you, Christy? Okay. You are you. Am I me? Who am I? Really? Like, who am I? Okay. Alrighty. Okay, so just FYI, just know that weird things are going to happen. Who knows what kind of weird things are going to happen today. You never really know when I'm talking what kind of things are going to happen. But I did want to tell you guys that I got the paint. I'm not gonna bring in the big one. I have a big purple one here, but this is the darker paint. So I've got a darker one for the accents. I've got a lighter one also for the accents, because what I think I might do is I got some cheesecloth, and I'm gonna use the darker color to create that shadow that I like around things. So anything that I put on the wall, I'm gonna create that shadow. And then I have like a purple that looks kind of like this shade of purple, like this shade here. That's going to be the main color for the wall. So that's going to be this side. And then I'm going to paint this side too, but I think I might end up replacing it with wallpaper. So that's the plan. And then I have a little friends frame that I'm going to put here, and I'm going to green screen that, I think. And I'm going to put the picture of the ocean in there. So it's kind of like the land of make-believe. Because that's kind of what I'm looking for, is like a land of make-believe type thing, where it's like people look at me like, what is that? And why do you have that? It's like, dude, that's my view, and that's for you today, So I thought that would be fun. You are Mendy today. Mendy, you are you. Thank you. I'm glad you like my beautiful ocean backdrop. Am I looking at it right? Somebody take a screenshot. Thanks. Okay. So, all right, now okay. So, so what are we talking about today? Today's episode of Stop Shutting Over Yourself is about Facebook ads. And the reason why I decided to do this is because I met with Danielle Fewings last week. Danielle Fewings is a freaking genius. Hello, hi Sheila, good to see you. Danielle Fewings is a freaking genius. I've known her for several years now, and she thinks about things in a very different way from the way I think about things. And I love the way she thinks about things. Like, she has a very analytical mind that cuts through the crap and gets to like the brass tacks and the key important points very, very quickly, which is a really important skill for somebody who works in Facebook ads, because you can't really get caught up in things. So I spoke with her, and we hadn't spoken in a couple of years, just because we've both been busy, blah, blah, blah. But, we reconnected, started talking, and, just talking about a bunch of things. And like, we had, oh my God, the best conversation ever. So much so, we're going to actually do a live together on the 18th. So mark your calendars, everybody, on the 18th of February at 1 p.m. Eastern. Danielle Fewings and I are going to do a live, and it's going to be basically her and I talking about how the algorithm actually works. And I've actually been wanting to do this kind of conversation for a while. Just the way her and I were talking about it in our call, I was like, dude, I actually want to do this live, and I want to do this I want to do this in front of people. Like, I want this to be something that's recorded that people can go back to, because like, we were talking about it just in terms of like, just nerding and geeking out. But I was like, dude, we got to geek out about this so that people can hear it, because like, the things that we're geeking out about, these are the things that actually matter when it comes to creating a successful business. Like, honestly, I'm going to tell you right now the things that don't matter. You know what doesn't matter is when you post. Post at 2 a.m., post at 3 a.m., post at 3 p.m., post at 11 a.m. It doesn't matter when you post. It really, really doesn't. There are so many other things that are more important than the time that you actually make a post, right? So there are a lot of things that but yet we spend so much time agonizing over it, right? So like, I get this question. It's like, well, when is the best time for me to post? It's like, dude, it doesn't matter. Post whenever you want, right? The best time for you to post is when you'll be there to respond. The best time for you to post is when you're there to post it. Like, that's the best time for you to post. But over the years, there's been so much information tossed out there by people who either think they knew what they were doing, or information that made sense at the time because of where we were at the time in terms of Facebook. But things change. Technology changes so quickly that our philosophies and the way we approach business have to change with it. But it doesn't for a lot of us, because I'm so glad. Yeah, less posting, more better. So this is another example of how we can save you some money. So today's podcast is really about that person who is in a moment where they're like, I'm struggling with finding customers, or I want to find more customers. Or your sales aren't where you want them to be. And you're thinking to yourself that blue button that keeps popping up, this is just like scratching, but it's not actually itching. You're thinking, if I press that blue button and $5, $10, imagine what kind of results I could get, right? Today's live is for that person who's wondering whether they should press that button or not. This is for that person who thinks that they're struggling right now, and that if they do ads, they're going to, the customers will find them, and then that's going to solve their sales problems. It's for the person who has spent money on ads, a lot of money on ads, and has not seen any results. Maybe you fired a couple of ad agencies. I actually tend to find that usually people have fired about 3 ad agencies before they come to me. And they're really pissed at the ad agencies. When I look at their pages, I can tell them the ad agency is not the problem. I can tell you what the problem is. It's like, and honestly, the ad agencies should have told you this, because they could tell just by looking at your page that your ads weren't going to work. Like, I don't know why they took your money, right? So the ad agencies are the problem, in that they shouldn't have taken your money in the first place, because you're not ready for ads, right? So what we're going to talk about today is what are the actual things that you need to look at. So when you find yourself at a point where you feel like you don't have enough customers, what are the actual things you need to look at? Because if you misdiagnose your problem, then you're solving something that it isn't even an issue that needs to be dealt with, right? So for example, if you're saying, well, I can't find customers, and you're like, okay, Facebook ads are the problem, right? I need to get Facebook ads. So you're over here, right? So you're running in that direction, solving the Facebook ads. This costs you money. This costs you time. It costs you effort. It costs you energy. It costs you self-esteem. It costs a lot of things while you're running in this direction. Meanwhile, the actual problem is what I'm about to tell you in the podcast. But you have run so far in that direction that you are miles away from even seeing that this is the problem, much less solving it. So the good news about this is that the problem and the solution are both free, okay? Which is great, because that means you don't have to spend money and you don't have to waste time. You can find more customers right now by doing this stuff on this side for free. And then once you've got this working, then you can amplify those results with Facebook ads, okay? The most important thing to keep in mind with Facebook ads is this. You never want Facebook ads to be the thing that you're saying, I need them to make my business work. Facebook ads are what amplifies what's already working in your business. So if you don't have something that's working in your business, ads can't help you, right? You've got to fix that first, then do the Facebook ads, all right? So that's what today's podcast is about. So I want to let you know that if you have any friends for whom you think this would resonate, share this with them. Get this in their feed. Send it to them in an email, ping it, make a skywriting thing for them, facebook.com. Actually, I think that's a bit of a long skywriting thing, but you know what? If that's how you tend to communicate with your friends, let's do it that way. All right. Okay. So here's how, if you have not, hi Kelly. Hey, good to see you. It is free. It is free. Okay. The Facebook ads didn't work. Okay. Yep. And that's really, really common, Sheila. It is so common for that actually that's why Danielle and I are having this. We're going to be doing this because she has a lot of clients that she turns away, which is amazing, right? And she's like, you're not ready. And here, these are the things you need to do. And the squad, what I train on, actually helps you figure those things out. But like once you figure those things out, you do want ads. Danielle Fewings is a great place to go. She's easy e-commerce if you're looking for her, but you're going to see more of her on the page. Okay. So let's talk then. All right. So the way that this works is live podcast recording. I'm going to go, boop, I'm going to start. Maybe I'll have one or two false starts. My face is numb. We'll come back to that in a second. I'll basically do the podcast. I won't be looking at the questions while I'm doing the podcast. And then after the podcast is over, I will come back here. So in the meantime, while I'm talking, feel free to talk amongst yourselves, ask a question, tell me what you're feeling, tell me what you're thinking. I'm going to come back and read all of the comments and we're going to have a conversation about it. Or you're welcome to hold your comments till the end. Either one works, but just know that we'll come back at the end and have a conversation to answer some questions or see if you have any specific cases or whatnot. Reminder for those of you who just joined us, I went to the dentist today and they gave me the Novocaine right before I left. So this whole left-hand side of my face is numb. I also had a woozy experience at the dentist, which I don't usually have. So I'm feeling a little bit loopy, which is fine. Like I feel good. Like I was like, dude, I feel great. But, and I don't feel sick or anything. So I decided to do the live, but just be aware that if you see, drool flying or, suddenly, cause I literally spit out like my water or iced tea flowing down my mouth, like just let it go. I'll take care of it. It's fine. It's just all the numb mouth. I think it's getting better now. So like I can feel myself a little bit. So I don't think it's as bad as it was when we first started the live, but just in case. All right. Okay. Alrighty. So if you have someone helping with Facebook ads who doesn't have a Facebook page or a website, I would not use them, just as an FYI. You couldn't tell. That's great. Cause I feel like it's really obvious. Like I feel like it's super obvious. Okay. All right. We're about to go into the podcast. All right. I'm going to hit record and let's do this thing. Okay. All right. I'm able to drink properly now. This is great. Okay. Hello, and welcome to the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast, the place where you come as an entrepreneur to let go of that feeling that you should be doing something else. For many business owners, especially those of us who are chronically ill or have ADHD or deal with any kinds of things like that, we tend to always be feeling like we should be doing something else. Whatever it is we're doing, doesn't really matter. We feel like we should be doing something else. So we got to hurry up and finish what we're doing now so we can do that next thing. Or we're feeling like we should be doing something that we're not doing. So we're filled with guilt. And honestly, a few years ago, I decided I was kind of done with that. I do not want to spend the rest of my life feeling guilty. And so I kind of started to let that go. But it took me a lot of time, and there were some very specific ideas that I let go of along the way that have really, really helped me and my community to feel just generally so much better in our day-to-day lives, because we're just not feeling bad about our businesses all the time. So I started this podcast to help you with those same things, because the more things that you let go of feeling like you should be doing, the lighter you're going to feel. So today I want to talk about Facebook ads, because that's something that all of us feel like we should be doing. Facebook ads. You see that little blue button on Facebook, and it's like, did you know that if you spend $5, you can have X number of people see this post, and think of the results that you're going to get. And for small business owners, that's one of our big problems, is that we're looking for customers all the time, and finding new customers is really tough. When you first start out though, right, in your business, it's not as tough, because you've got your friends, your family, people are supporting you. And so it really gives you this false idea of how easy it is to run a business. And a lot of us become emboldened by our first 2 to 3 months of success. And we think that that's what the entire business running experience is going to be like. And it usually takes about 6 months before we start to realize that, you know what, things are not exactly the same as they were when we first started. So when you think about your initial stage, right, as a business owner, and it's important to remember that we all go through a few stages as business owners. You have your initial stage where you're selling to your friends and family. You have your stage 2 where you're really starting to get to know like how to sell to people that are not your friends and family. And then you have stage 3 where you're scaling up. When you're selling to your friends and family, I want to talk specifically about the transactional process, like how that tends to go. So let's say you're selling a chocolate goodie bag, right, as your part of your business, and it's $35, and in it there's some caramel dark chocolate, and there's some mint chocolate, and maybe some chocolate berry thing, right? And let's think about how that transaction would go. If you have a friend or a family member who wants it, either you've mentioned it, it's shown up on their feed. If they have any trouble along the journey of buying from you, let's say they are not sure where the link is, or they don't know how to check out, or they're not sure what you sell, or they're not sure where to go, whatever their problems may be, they're going to reach out to you and say, hey, Manessa, I can't find your link. Hey, Manessa, can you tell me where to get this chocolate? They're going to take the initiative to reach out to you and be like, hey, can you help me out with this? Because they're close to you, you're friends, you've known each other for a while. It's not, they probably talked a few days ago. It's not something that they feel weird about. They feel like they'll just ask you, and you'll just tell them, and they'll just buy, right? Straightforward, fairly simple, right? But what we don't realize is that that transaction took a lot of time. So you're selling this, let's say you're selling this goodie bag for like $35, and every question you have to answer from somebody that is asking you, where do I go? What do I do? That takes like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. And so now it's taking up time out of your day. So this $35 is starting to cost you more than simply the wholesale cost of the products, right? So let's say the wholesale cost is like $15 for it. So now your profit is $20, which means that every minute that you're spending on pushing this transaction forward is reducing the amount of money you're really getting paid per hour for whatever it is that you're doing, right? Now, if you have to help somebody through the entire transactional step, like this is where you go, this is what you click on, or help anyone through the issues that they're having, and consistently have to do that, you're capped with the amount of things you can sell by your time, because you can only direct so many people to the checkout. So at some point you're going to reach a cap where I can only sell this many because I'm having to help people through the transactional process. Now, the issue that you're going to have as you try to scale up then is that strangers are not going to message you when they run into a problem. So let's say you're selling this chocolate goodie bag and they run into the exact same question that your friend or your family member did. They're not going to PM you and say, where do I find this link? What do I do? They're just going to leave, right? So what ends up happening then is when we move from the space of selling to our friends and family to moving to a place where we're selling to strangers, we don't realize that there is an actual process, like a step-by-step journey, that somebody takes in order to buy something. So it starts with, hi, I'm a stranger. Okay, so hi, I'm a stranger might be they see a post in their feed, they see, because it was referred by a friend or a friend engaged on it, or they're unfollowed your page or they're in your group, right? But they see that post and in some way, shape, or form, they become aware of you. They then click in that post or engage in that post, And then that takes them to another step that then needs to take them to another step that tells them about your product. Once they know about your product, right, they need to know why they want your product, right? So that's a step as well. Once they know why they want your product and that your product exists, if they decide they want to buy it, they need a way to buy the product, okay? They need to click on that link to buy the product to then check out. So all of these things are just logistical steps that everybody has to take whenever they're checking out. So if you think about your process of checking out of Amazon, you already know about Amazon. So the way that it would start would be Amazon.com, find the product, add it to your cart, check out. Simple, right? But if you didn't know about Amazon, how would you learn about it, right? So that then it would take you through that very simple checkout process. But there's that first question, how would you learn about it? Maybe you'd see it on an ad, maybe a friend would tell you about it. But in either case, the second you got to Amazon, you'd do your search, you'd find your thing and check out. It's a very straightforward process, right? Now, one of the biggest issues that I have seen happening with business owners who come to me with issues is not that you're using the wrong keywords or that you aren't selling enough or are selling too much or that you are posting at the wrong time or you're not using the right graphics. Honestly, like a lot of business owners have a much more basic issue. And that basic issue, and by the way, if you look at my website prior to the revamp that we're doing in February of 2022, you will find that this problem exists on my website as well. So just because someone's aware of this problem doesn't mean they're inoculated from it. The biggest issue that exists is that people cannot go from being a stranger to having a seamless path to checking out and buying from you. That's it. Now, my path is fairly straightforward, fairly good, but there are some holes in it. I know that the holes are my issue. That's what I'm working on, right? So I'm fixing the problem that actually exists. If I do ads right now, if I do ads without the journey being completely hole proof, then I'm paying a lot of money to find people who are going to then come to my page and they're going to fall through one of the holes in that journey that I just listed. So before I have any ads, I have to check to make sure that I have no holes, okay? For many business owners, they jump right to the ad part and skip over the holes. So they find their ads may actually be working. Your ads may be working brilliantly. You may be getting like 10, 15,000 people coming. You may have the potential to get all the customers coming in. But if after they start walking down the journey, they fall through the holes, then they will never make it to the checkout part. But for most business owners, because they don't know about the user journey and how that works, we automatically jump to the conclusion that I need more customers and ads are the solution. I have rarely met a business owner who did not start with that belief system. We all start there and then we learn and realize, oh, wait a minute, that's not how it is. It's actually something else that's the problem. So we need to get to that space sooner. And the sooner we get there, the faster we're able to actually solve some of these problems. And then when we use ads, they work for us a little bit better. Okay. So let's talk about what some of these issues, what are the key signposts that you're looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you the key things that I look at when I'm looking at a user journey and where you're probably losing people so that you can make that change right away. So the very first thing to know is that when someone comes to your page, that you lose 97.8% of them right off the bat. So it's really unlikely that you're going to keep like everyone who comes to your page. You're losing a large number of people. But you can mitigate that number by making some changes to how you approach your page, right? And so this philosophy, by the way, will apply for your website too, if you're sending people to your website instead. So the first thing is on your cover photo, okay? Your cover photo needs to be very, very clear. It cannot be confusing. You can't have a random picture of something that isn't relevant to your business, or like for example, if you are a boutique owner and you have a picture of your cat. Why is there a picture of your cat on your cover photo, right? Unless you are drawing the connection between the cat and the clothes, you're going to confuse people because people thought they were coming to a boutique, but then they see a cat. When people are confused or they don't see what they expect, they will bounce because confusion makes people feel uncomfortable. And when people feel uncomfortable, they leave. So your goal is to make them feel as comfortable as possible. So if you're advertising for a boutique, then when somebody gets to your page, show them a picture of your boutique. Show them a picture of the clothes that you sell. Show them a picture of your style. Don't have a picture of just your face because unless you're selling earrings and boutique things that go on your face, right? But a lot of times business owners will refrain from sharing those things, or they won't even have themselves in the picture because they're shy or they're embarrassed or whatever the issue is. But by doing so, what you're doing is you're distracting the people who come to your page, and they are leaving because of confusion. So you have to make sure that your cover photo is clear. It needs to be a photograph that you took, not a stock photo. And it needs to be related to what it is that you do, so that people can tell that they're in the right place, okay? If you're going to have text on it, you don't want to have a lot of text, and you don't want it to be like, I go live on this day, and this is my text messaging service, and this is how you can join my email list. And this is, you really have to bring it down. Less is more. When someone first comes to your page, you have to assume that they are strangers, and you're trying to bring them in slowly. You're not trying to slap them across the face with all of the information about your business, right? Because what is really happening is that you're worried that they're not going to get the information that they need. So you're trying to give them all of the information. The truth is, they only need one piece of information when they come to your page if they're a stranger. And that piece of information is, how are you going to help me? Not when do you go live, not how do I get on your text messaging service, not what's your email list. It's how are you going to help me? What problem of mine do you solve? If you don't have that information on your cover photo, then the people who are there are not going to know why they're there, and they will leave. Okay, so your cover photo needs to be clear and talk about what it is that you do and give them a next step. Okay. The blue button on your Facebook page, or whatever call to action you do, it needs to be something that people are likely to do. So join group is not a good choice. Buy now, not a good choice. At this point of your business page, your audience is not really ready to buy from you. Now, if you want to go with buy from me now, that's great. Make sure that you give them a reason to buy. Don't just say, we have these clothes, buy now. That's not going to work. You really have to give them a reason. I recommend something a little bit with getting them to sign up for something, having them watch a video, anything that gives that you can use to entice them to say, I am interested in this, and I will give you my email to get that item, right? So for me, when you go to my cover photo, it says, I will give you something to save 20 hours from your week. Give me your email, okay? So I'm basically saying, come here, I will give you this information. You click on learn more, and that's when I ask you for your email. So it's the second step, not the first step, okay? So that's the important thing to keep in mind, is you want to slow it down a little bit, okay? Make sure that you are using the language, okay, of your audience. Now, this is really important, because what happens to a lot of business owners is that when they start their business, they identify that there's a problem that they want to solve, and they're going to help people with it, and they get going. The more time you spend in an industry, the more you learn, the more your language changes. And it changes from being the language of the person who doesn't know how to solve their problem to being the language of someone who knows how to solve that problem. Now you're the person who knows how to solve this problem, and you're talking to people who don't know how to solve this problem. But you're using the language of people who already know how to solve this problem, okay? So what do I mean by that? Let's say I talk about, so you want to make sure that in order for your clothes to not shelf, that you make sure that you're sizing yourself appropriately, okay? If you don't know what the word shelf means, then you don't know what I just said. And if I was trying to sell you clothes, then you now feel stupid, because I've made you feel dumb by saying a word that you don't know what it means. You're not going to want to ask me, because for most of us, buying clothes is already a difficult experience. We want to enjoy it, and we're not going to enjoy it if we feel confused or stupid or foolish, okay? So I'm more likely just going to leave, okay? Because now I'm confused and I feel stupid, all right? If I'm using words like fashion forward, fizzing, manifest, find clarity, those are all emotion words, and they make people feel things and see things, but it doesn't take them in the direction of, this is a problem and I'm going to solve it for you, or you understand what this word means, or you understand how I'm going to help you. All it does is make people say, okay, this is fun. But people are not willing to give money for something that's, oh yeah, this is fun. They're going to give money for something that they feel is going to enhance their life in some way, right? So if I say to you, listen, I know how you hate it when your shirt constantly folds up on your boobs, And the reason why that happens is because you're wearing a size too small. So if you size up, then you won't have that issue, right? Or so now you're probably wearing a size too small. So now you're like, oh, I hate the way that looks. That makes perfect sense to me. Now I've empowered you with knowledge, okay? But I didn't use a fancy word like shelving, all right? If I say to you, listen, I know that you have a goal for your business that you are really having trouble hitting. And as a result, you feel like maybe you're not cut out for business, but you really want to make this work. I have a system that I can help you with that will walk you step by step through the processes to get to getting to a goal, okay? When you see that process laid out, you're going to feel like a badass because now you know how a business works, and then you're going to feel empowered, okay? So now I am talking to you, explaining to you how I am going to help you, okay? I am not giving you one word like manifest and saying, yes, that's exactly what I'm going to help you do. But if you don't already understand what all of those words mean, you're just left there going, wow, that's really fun, but I don't know what that means. And you're going to run off feeling more confused and thinking to yourself, I wish I could feel the way that she does, but I don't know how, right? And that's not what you want. You're like, wait, I can help you feel the way I do. That's what you're trying to do. But when you speak the language of the expert, which you do, whether you like the word expert or not, that's the language you're using. When you speak the language of the expert, you alienate the people who are not experts, and those are the people that you're trying to help. So it's important to recognize and look at your page and make sure that you are not using insider lingo in an attempt to show off your intelligence or how much you know. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I have done the same thing. We've all done this because that's what we do when we first start out, because we're insecure, and it helps us to feel more secure about ourselves. But the problem is that behavior is also what alienates our audiences. Okay. Now, there's two more, and then those are the two more big ones. Okay. So these are the biggest. The first is Linktree. If you're using a Linktree or any sort of email or any sort of link aggregate that basically is a page that gives people like 13 different links to pick from, you are losing people in that section, because your audience, unless they are already totally committed to you, is not going to click through that list of options. Because the second a stranger sees that, somebody who's new to your business or new to what you do sees that, they are going to immediately feel confused because they don't know which one to pick, and they're concerned they'll pick the wrong one, and they don't want to pick the wrong one, and so they're just going to not pick anything at all. We've all done that. We've seen it happen, and when you give somebody that many options, you're actually doing the same thing to them. So now you're basically creating a page that says, please leave my website. Okay, so those, unless you are okay with losing people, do not use the link trees. I think they are really great to use as if you have somebody who's like, I want to see all the things you do. Yes, sure. Give them that link so they can see all the things that you do. Have that. There's no reason not to have one. But it's not a good next step for your business page or for someone who is just now learning about you. It's too much for somebody to ask somebody to do that early on in the relationship. Okay. So it's sort of like, let's say you have one date with somebody and you know that they're dating somebody else, and you tell them on that first date, you have to decide between me and that person right now. And it's like, well, I don't know if I have to decide. Well, no, you have to decide right now. Otherwise, and I could be the person of your dreams. Well, that's an awful lot to put on somebody that first date immediately to say, make that choice. Now, I know that's not what you think you're doing, but that's how a lot of us internalize it. So make life easier for them and just use lesser ones. Okay. All right. So now this is the biggest one that I want you to go take a look at right now on your page. I guarantee to you that you have this problem. Excuse me. So make sure that if you make a post that is selling something, that you are actually selling the item. And what that means is that you've got to have information about the item. I have seen so many posts that basically say, this is in stock, come get it now, with no link to where to go to get it. So people look at it, they see this item that shows up on their news feed that's whatever it is that they love, that chocolate set that they're like, let's say that person doesn't even need a caption. Let's say they don't even need it to be sold to them. They look at the picture of the chocolate box and they're like, oh my God, I must have 13 of these. There is no link for them to buy right in that post. So they have to go to your business page. Now they have to go to your business page and figure out how to find the chocolate post, which may or may not be at the top because posts show up at different times. So this could be a post from like 2 weeks ago. Who knows, right? So now I have to find it. But wait, where I found the post, that doesn't have a link for the thing anyway. So, okay, hold on. I'll go to your website. Now, I've lost interest. I'm not doing that much work to buy chocolate. Okay, nobody's going to do that much work to buy chocolate. If you're going to sell something in a post, then actually sell something, right? Don't make it weird by being coy and saying, well, look, this is here. And then if somebody wants to, they'll click on it and they'll figure it out. You're making people fight a mighty battle to be able to just buy chocolate or just buy a skirt. Make sure that you're actually telling them what it is, right? So if you're going to be selling that little chocolate box, don't just post a picture of the chocolate box and say, it's in stock, buy it. Tell them what it is. Well, this is some mint chocolate. This is some caramel chocolate. This is some berry chocolate. I loved it. I thought the berry was great. The berry it comes out as a hint of flavor at the very end, but there's a strong front chocolate taste and it's amazing and you definitely need to try it. Sell it to them. Tell them why it is good. Tell them why they want it, that it's delicious, right? Then tell them how much it is, because oftentimes I don't even see a price on there. It just says this is ready to buy. How much is it? If it's something that they wear, how does it fit? What is the inseam like? What is the material like? Show a picture of yourself in it or show a picture of someone else in it. If the chocolates and things like that were made in a place with nuts, make sure that information is there, but make sure that you're providing people with the information, the basic information someone would need to buy something. Don't just provide a picture and say, well, if they're interested, they'll figure it out. No, they won't. If they're interested, they'll try and then they will give up because you've made it too hard for them to buy from you. So this is something that I have found happens on almost every page I've looked at. So what I want you to do is I want you to go back and listen to this second half of this. And I want you to go through your business page and I want you to analyze your business page just like this. Because without having these things in place, you're spending money on ads just to get people to a page they're going to get lost in, right? So now you're spending more money to get people to a page that they're just going to look around and be like, I don't even know what's happening here, right? What I want you to do is start at the very beginning of wherever it is that people are going to be. And then I want you to walk through the steps slowly. And as you walk through the steps, ask yourself the question, is this clear? Do I know what's happening here? Do I know what I'm supposed to do next? Is this too quick? Am I rushing the job? Am I saying, come on, hey, my name is Vanessa, jump into bed with me? Or am I giving you flowers? What is happening here, right? Follow it along very, very slowly, right? And ask yourself these questions so that you can see where your holes are and just start to make a list. That is your action item list. Those need to be your priorities because anything else you do won't matter if people can't get through this, right? So it doesn't matter whether your branding is great or whether your live is good. None of those things matters. If people can't actually buy from you, then all of the other stuff you're doing is a waste of time because people actually have to be able to check out. Otherwise, you just have a lot of stuff that you're doing. And that is probably the most impactful change you can make to your business right now. Now, take your time with it. It can be really seductive and want to like dive in and just like do all of it right away and be like, I'm going to go through and solve my whole thing. No, just go through, figure out what your list is, and then create an action item list over the next couple of weeks. I know that my user journey isn't super awesome right now. So I've got things in place. I've got a team that's working on it and I know it's going to move where it needs to be. I'm letting it go, right? I actually recorded my user journey as it stands now so I can use it as an example to show that it's not a demonstration that you do or don't know what you're doing. Everybody is going to have a problem with their user journey at some point. It doesn't matter who you are. What's important is recognizing, this is a problem that people run into and this is how I can solve it, okay? It literally is the most important part of your business because without a clear plan, like I said, you don't really have anything else. So here's what I want you to do. Go through it yourself. If you have trouble or if you need help, drop me a line. Either you can send me a note on the business page or you can email me at manessa.com. And let me know that you are interested in a user journey audit. So one of the things that I am launching over the next couple of months will be a user journey audit where I'll basically go through your user journey with you. We'll sit, we'll talk, and we'll do a whole strategy session. And I will give you your action item and say, okay, your business isn't working for these reasons. These are the things that you need to do. Here are the resources, go, right? So that basically now you have your business plan and your strategy so you can move forward with your business so that you don't feel like you're stuck, right? So if you'd like to have somebody else do it for you, you're welcome to send me a message on Facebook to the business page, or you can email me at manessa.com. In the meantime, don't forget to share this podcast with business owners that you know who are looking for new customers because you really don't want them wasting a ton of money on ads before they fix this user journey. Okay, so that's going to be key. Don't let your friends spend money on ads if they have not already gone through this podcast and figured out their user journey. One other thing I wanted to ask you guys to do. So I have some big ideas for this podcast. I feel like we as women do not need to feel shame about all the things that we should or shouldn't be doing in our business, because it's our business and our life and we can do whatever the heck we want. I have some really great ideas for how to take this podcast to the next level. Some games, some subscription stuff, some bonuses, some perks. And I have applied for a grant from Podcash to help fund it. So I would love it. So what they're asking me to do is I've submitted, and they want to hear from you, my listeners, my fans. So I would love for you to head over to the link in the show notes for Podcash, go click on the link and just send them a love letter. Tell them what you think about the show. Tell them how it's helped your business. Tell them anything you want. Tell them the truth about everything. And let's see what we can do to get this podcast funded so we can take it to the next level. Bam. That was like the best ending I've ever done. Okay. All right. Whoa. So much text. Okay. What did I miss? All right. Okay. Here we go. Okay. The ocean is my view. Yes, Sheila, the ocean is my view. So I want to share my ocean view with everybody, because it's great to have, but I want to share it with everybody. So I set up another camera that's basically facing outside. So like this is the view that I'm looking at right now today. So when I put the friends thing is going to be over here, I'm going to put it inside there. And of course I'm going to paint the wall purple. It's going to be super epic. I'm really excited. Okay. Alrighty. Let's see. Okay, alrighty. So I'm just jumping on, so not sure what I missed, but I did ads for a bit and had lots of people join my group, but then that's where it died. I think that's the biggest thing is, Crystal, is what happens afterwards, right? Getting people to a place. So let me tell you about my disaster. So when I launched the squad in August, I had a bunch of money that I spent on ads, and we got a lot of results, and it was fabulous, right? I was really happy with the results we got with the ads. The problem was that, and this is where I started to realize, like, I was like, you know what? I can see where some of these problems exist for all of us, right? Is that this program that I had selected for the software for the squad, which I thought was going to be amazing, and honestly, I'm crushingly disappointed by how shitty it is it wouldn't allow people to, like, so you would pay and then it would take your money, but then you couldn't actually get into the curriculum. So like I was getting emails from people saying I can't get in, and obviously we fixed it for everybody, but that's a really bad user experience. Like nobody wants their first experience with their coach to be like, oh, I took your money and I didn't help you. And then, so that was August. And then I tried to get them to fix it over the course of the last, 6 months. And we just did a flash sale to test out and to see, okay, because we're going to launch again in April. So we did a flash sale to test out the system, the flash sale went amazing. Again, results were double what I was hoping, right? Double what I was hoping. So excited. But every person who purchased, once again, same fucking problem. And I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this again. So we're moving everything over into a different system, and cleaning it all up. But like, that's a user journey problem right now. Think of how many people got lost. And like, oh, by the way, the other user journey problem that we had was like when for like 2 days while my ads were running, the system that I was using just turned off the sale option. So the ads were being run, people were clicking on the link, they'd get to the page, and then there was no way for them to buy anything, right? Because the system just turned it off. And I was so livid. Oh my God, I was just so mad. Still mad when I think about it. But the point is that the user journey was the problem. My product is amazing. I mean, like, seriously, my product's like life-changing for business owners. And it's right behind the door. And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, fine. Right? So that's the user journey is really important, because it doesn't matter if you have the cure for cancer. If the cure for cancer is behind a door, nobody can get to, right? That's the key. Alrighty. Okay, so let's see. I hear everything you're saying. I'm building from the foundation, and this seems so daunting. Where do I find my first steps to firm the foundation and build it correctly? LaFern, the foundation is the roadmap to success that you're building in the squad. Once you have that down, so like you have your user journey, you're building, because like so the first thing in the squad where we're talking about is you've got your business page, the basic business page. Then you've got your customer, which you got that, you know that already. The third one, which is the one we're finishing up, is this will all be ready for April, which is the video and lives. Okay, video and lives. That's what you use to amplify your results. Then there is your email, which is the automation. And in that email automation section is where we talk about the user journey that basically says, this is the path that you go down. This is the path that people need to go down. Now you go down this path and make sure that people can get to it, right? Because it's the path that you're going to walk them down. So the way that you do it is you sit down and you say, okay, where am I going to find people, right? So let's say you find people at networking event. And you've decided that your homepage is lafern.com. So you're talking to someone and you're like, oh yeah, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, oh my God, I totally need a bookkeeper. Okay, so they're down with what you've got. You hand them your card. Your card says lafern.com. Lafern.com sends them to your business page, right? So you're like, okay, this is my plan. I'm going to send everybody to my business page. Great. So now they've got your card. So you know that this person who is interested is going to go to your business page. So what happens when she gets to your business page? So now you go to your business page and go, okay, lafern.com. What's the first image that I see? The first image that I see is a picture of Rose Island going, love my life, right? And you're like, that's confusing. She's not going to know that this is my page. So then you're like, now you know that your next step, which I know that's not your cover photo, but you know that your next step is to change the cover photo because that's where she's going to get stuck, right? And it doesn't matter what you do after this, she's already gotten stuck here. Once you've massaged that out and figured that out, your next step is, okay, cover photo, where are they going next? They're going to scroll down a little, okay, blue button. Where is this blue button and what am I telling them to do? And like basically you're just massaging it step by step, right, to get through. But before you massage your user journey, you've got to have the pieces in place, right? So you've got to have your Facebook page, you've got to have, or website, depending on how you're going to do it. You've got to have, you've got to have your email list set up. You've got to have a way to check out, right? So you've got to have that way to check out because they've got to be able to buy. And then once you have all those pieces, then you go through and you say, okay, what is the path I want them to take? And am I giving them those signposts to get from place to place? Yes, this applies to your personal profile too. Walk through the process. It doesn't matter. You can start this process from your Instagram, from your LinkedIn. Follow the process from every avenue, right? Just say, okay, I'm going to meet someone here. What am I going to tell them to do, right? And you have to decide this. It's not where will they go, right? Where will they go? No. You tell them where to go. If you're saying where will they go, then you are not being assertive enough in telling them where to go because that's your decision. This is your business. They're not as invested in your business as you are. So if you're thinking that they're going to tell you, they're going to figure it out, you're expecting them to put more effort into your business than you were willing to put into it, right? Because you weren't willing to put in that effort to figure out where they're supposed to go. So you want them to do that, right? That's something that when I realized that, I was like, you know what? I need to tell you what to do. I can't just expect you to figure it out and be like, well, some people want this, some people want this, some people want this. Well, if that's what you're saying, then you need to get to know your customer a little bit better because that tells me you don't know where in the journey your customers are finding you, right? So learn your customer better and then you will know where to send them. Alrighty. Okay, what else? Hey. Alrighty. This turned upside down, so now everything is there. Everything is okay. I think we're all right. Oh my god, so weird. Okay, show notes. Sorry, everything just went super weird. Like some people are on the top and some people are on the bottom. It's like there's comments that I know that were done right when I first got here. Like that when I first started, they're now at the bottom. Okay, so Dee Dee said, where are the show notes? So the show notes for the podcast will be in the when Laura publishes it. So when they get to the publishing, they'll add all of the links later and add the show notes and whatnot because this is the live recording. What my goal is ultimately, and I'm still sort of workshopping this, is is to actually, like, once we get to a certain point, I want to break up what we're doing a little bit because we've got a lot of stuff that's live and public on the page. I want to get a subscription service in to where some things will move behind a wall and some things won't because I have a lot of people who like to follow me and who like to watch me live, but who aren't business owners. They want to hang out and they want to do these things, but like they don't really want to be in the squad because it's not relevant content to them. And so I want to move that to like a $4.99 a month subscription service where it's like, okay, we'll do some of these things behind that subscription wall. And that's probably where I'll move Chasing Momoa and stuff too as well. it's just it's a different sales model, because for many of us as business owners, and this is why I want to talk to you about this, is because this is actually a direction that many of us are probably going to end up going to over the course of the next 5 to 6 years, is that our value is not only just in the products that we offer, like the course, the class, and so on and so forth. Like, I offer a lot of value in that space. But there's also a great deal of value that we offer just with our lives, like that we do, and our streaming, games, you know, whatever the stuff it is that we do when we're live. And another business model that actually exists is the live streaming business model, where people subscribe to hang out and watch these things or whatever, but it's not like a $39.99 or whatever. It's more like a $4 or $5. You know, some people use Patreon for that. Some people use Facebook. I may end up using Patreon. I'm not entirely sure how I want to do it, but the reason why is because I really want to move into like have a hybrid model where there's the free model. So now you get some of my lives for free. Then there's the, like, I'm not a business owner, or I am a business owner, but I just want to hang out and watch some lives and like do the things. And we do those behind the paywall for $4.99. And then there's like the business owners who actually want to do business, and they're like, and we're looking for strategy and that kind of thing that we'll do in the squad. Because my biggest issue was when I increased the price of the squad, and when I switched over, I had a lot of people who were in the squad who left because they said, they were like, look, I stayed in the squad because I just wanted to hang out with you. And I was like, wow, I really need, and that's why we actually ended up doing 2 intense in the squad. So that's behind the paywall, and then 2 out here, where people who were like, I still want to hang out with you, but I don't necessarily need the business stuff. So, so that's sort of generally the direction that I'm thinking of going in. And I'd like to share that because, you know, there are a lot of different ways to make money, a lot. And as business owners, we tend to like just stick with the things that we already know. So whenever I think of a different way that I'm like, I'm interested in exploring this and seeing how it works, it may work, it may not work, who the fuck knows, right? But when I like to share it with you, because sometimes you guys run with it, and you'll like, there's things that I've like been like, oh yeah, I think I want to try that. Then someone else ran with it, and they basically were like, oh yeah, I love this. And I just never did it. And I was like, all right, great. I love it. You know, at least it got done by somebody. So it doesn't really matter whether it works or doesn't work, as much as it's like, I'm interested in this idea that I want to try out. Patricia says, this is where I struggle. I'm not super tech, but I launched a handyman business, and getting people to see our Facebook to make appointments to bid the jobs is the problem. So, you know, Patricia, I follow the trans handyman. Do you follow the trans handyman? So the trans handyman, she's amazing. She does videos, lots of videos actually. They're just really short videos of basically tips about things around the house. Like the other day she had one where she was showing about this is a plunger for your sink and this is a plunger for the toilet, right? And she explained the difference. And basically that's what she does. She just sort of answers those questions. And I think that that is that's something that you can do to get, because like what that gives you exposure. So I would consider follow the trans handyman, make videos like that, where you're basically making 30-second videos, maybe a minute long videos, where you're basically showing people something to do with plumbing, and that will get you a lot of traction, a lot of attention. And then those are the things that will get people to be like, ooh, this is interesting. And then that's the hook. That's the value that you provide. So I would do that, and you'll probably see that there's a lot more. And the thing with that is that if you make the short videos 30 second to 60 seconds, you can just throw them up on Reels and you'll be good to go. Alrighty. So, okay. Alrighty. So, oh yeah, here we go. Okay. Dee Dee says, oh, you know what? I'm starting to see a lot of coaches doing that. I could eventually turn my free group into a paid subscription group. Exactly, right? So that's what I did. For me, I had my free group, which was the business strategy group, and then I had a paid group, which was the social strategy squad. And I used to use the business strategy group as like my bouncy. So it'd be like freebie, you'd be like business page, group, and then big group, and then paid group. And I actually ultimately ended up realizing that big group was actually just causing me more anxiety and didn't really do what I needed it to do. And so I shut it down. Many of you were probably in it. And then we just got rid of that, and we used a mailing list for that instead. I found that to be more effective. than having both of the groups. But I like the idea of switching the free group to the paid group. The only question that I would have with that as you transition into that is how are you going to get rid of the people in there, because like it might end up being too big and like you might just want to like start a new group. Okay. Alrighty. I'm definitely having to consider. I think you're meaning leaving the squad. I think leaving translated to hibbing the squad. I would definitely do a $5 to hang out sub. That's what I was thinking. Right? Is really that I think that because I pay $5 to hang out with people that I like. They stream and I like to hang out with them. And even if I don't hang out with them every day, I still send them the money because I'm like, I want to know that you're there when I want you. Right? That's what I want. And I think it's a more budget friendly price point to people who are not running businesses. Because if you're not running a business, $39.99 is just really not a justifiable expense to listen to somebody talk twice a week. Like, and as much as I love what's in the squad, and it's a great space to be, as somebody who's not running a business, I don't know that I would find it particularly helpful. Alrighty. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely. So I would do that. So check that out, Patricia. That'll help out. And then let's see what happens. Come back and let me know how it goes. Alrighty, guys. So the big lesson of today is this. You like 7? I like 7. Okay. 7. Oh my God. Well, now I have to do 7. I'm gonna have all this friend stuff. A 2, a 4, a 2, 3, 1. What the fuck was I saying? You distracted me, Dee, with the friends. No, actually, I think I friends to myself. Right. What I want you to do. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to, if you want to try out ads, try them out. There's no reason not to play around and have fun if you want to. Have a good time. But be mindful of what your expectations are for any ad that you run, because you can only expect so much from an ad. All it can really do is get people to a place. It can't funnel people anywhere else. So once people get to that place, it's on you. I want you to think about your entire business, the whole thing. I want you to close your eyes now, and I want you to imagine that your customer is on a freeway. Okay. And your business is somewhere off of the freeway. Okay. And the checkout, your checking out option is somewhere off the freeway. Okay. Which means, and there's no GPS. So in order for your person, the perfect person, this is the perfect person. This isn't someone who's not interested. This is somebody who is like, they're going to be your diehard fan. You need to get them to that checkout place. Okay. So you know that if this was a highway, the first thing you'd need would be a green sign on the right-hand side of the road that has a big sign there that says chocolate bars, candy store, whatever. We're selling chocolates in this case, right? Exit 32, so that they know it's coming up. You might even have another one that says, a little bit closer up that's saying chocolate, candy, right here, this exit. You'll guide them off the exit. There'll be another sign, a billboard. That's your billboard that is off the highway, that is high up there, that is basically your cover photo that tells them the value that you provide, right? So I love that. You've got your billboard, you've got your signpost. See, this is exactly it. And you've got your guidance. You got, okay, turn left here, turn right there. Where are you telling them to go? When they get there, is it simple for them to find parking, or is it impossible, right? And then in your mind, you can think of these things because you're thinking of yourself driving to a store, getting there, seeing that the parking lot is impossible, right? Those are all the roadblocks. In your mind, do that for your business, right? So you want to think of your business in that way and ask yourself, am I giving them signposts? Am I giving them the directions? Do they know where to go? Is there a billboard? If you are asking yourself these questions as you go through your business page or whatever journey it is you're going through, you are going to find almost immediately from making these changes, your business starts to thrive because people just stop falling through holes. Because I guarantee to you, you're not finding as many people as you think. Like, you may be thinking that you're having so much trouble finding customers. I guarantee that's not what's happening. What's actually happening is that you're finding people and you're just losing them the instant you find them. They're just like in and out, in and out. They're not even registering because of how quickly they're bouncing. Your job is to plug the bounce holes, right? And so that's what you're doing now. And as you start to plug those O's, Do they have to pay to park? How far do they have to walk to get to the front door? What's the weather like, right? All of that's what's the weather like is very important too, right? So like a lot of times I've known business owners who are like, oh my God, everybody's business sucks and nobody is buying from me and this is terrible. And it's January 1st. And I'm like, dude, nobody's going to buy from you this month. It's January. Like, this has nothing to do with you. Well, I got to work hard. I have to force the sales. I'm like, dude, fine, but you're going to be killing yourself for nothing. Like, what I would recommend that you do instead is plan for February. When you know people are going to be spending, make a big plan for Feb, double your sales in Feb, make what's working already work twice as well instead of trying to make something that isn't working work. We know that people don't like to shop in January. You're not going to get them to change that. So the key thing, unless you're like self-help or like improvement, right? So remember that you don't exist in a vacuum. You exist in a world, and your business and the things that you sell are not anyone else's top priority. They're your top priority, and everybody else's top priority is whatever's happening in their life, right? So remember, the weather is important because the weather is the analog for the things that are going on in the world that have nothing to do with you, right? That just, it's like, if, for example, on the day of the Capitol riots, there was a lot of chaos happening that day. People were not buying. It had nothing to do with you. It had nothing to do, people were just like, oh my God, what is happening in this world, right? If you're like, oh my God, it's all about me and the sales aren't happening, then you are really missing the big picture, right? And it's really important to recognize that, because sometimes we can give ourselves shit for not doing well when we don't, because we aren't really taking into account what's happening in the rest of the world, right? Meanwhile, we're like, if we look outside and be like, oh my goodness, the apocalypse is here. Well, of course nobody's buying from me right now. That's not their biggest problem, right? That's the key thing. Alrighty. Okay, so yes, this will be on replay. Absolutely, Mary. It will be on replay, and we do this every Wednesday. So guys, get this on your calendar. Every Wednesday at 10 a.m. I go live for the Stop Shitting All Over Yourself podcast. I want to also make sure that you are on our text messaging service, and the information is in the description up above. And before I leave you, I just wanted to remind you that if you enjoyed this, then tomorrow at 10 a.m., my sister and I are going to be going live for the S&M show, where we are going to talk about anything but business. So this show is designed for people who don't want to talk about business, business owners especially, whose entire lives have probably become all about talking about everything that they're doing for the business and the stuff that's happening in the business and the business and the business and the business. We need to have another topic to talk about as business owners. Otherwise, we become one topic people and we bore ourselves to death, right? So don't be bored to death. Come hang out with us. We are going to have a great time. All right. So I'm going to see you tomorrow at the same bat time, 10 a.m.